Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be working on the white truck yet again. So what I'm doing right now, I just got back from running some errands, and I'm going to say it's hot. This is what the truck shows without heat index, and I just got back. But what I'm going to do is I need to go down here at the shop, move some stuff around, put some stuff in the 6.0. That's why I'm leaving it running, and take to our little burn pile. And then we will take the white truck and put in the shop. Okay, guys, so I got a bunch of stuff loaded up here in the 6.0, and I forgot to be able to get the white truck in. Probably need to move the lawnmower, so I'm gonna do that real quick. And I will say, if it sounds like I'm dying in any portion of this video, it's because it's hot. I looked on my phone, but anyway, before I kind of freaked out because a wasp just landed on my finger, I was saying that I had just looked on my phone, and it shows it to be 99 degrees with 112 heat index, which is just lovely. But we're gonna get this out of here. We have these steps for the 6.0. I need to get those on at some point. Might try to do that today. I don't know. I think what we're going to try to do today is wheel bearings on the white truck. So that won't take very long, and we might have enough time to throw those steps on. But I'm going to get this mower out of here, run up to the house, move the 6.0, grab the white truck, and bring the white truck down here. And let it sit and cool off in here, because it currently says it's 120 in here. I'm ready for winter, to say the least. But it is what it is. We'll make it work. Alright, boys. So we're in the white truck here. And I must say, I'm getting the hang of getting up in this thing. So it's kind of nice having these steps. But I think we are going to cut the brackets and move them some, but we're not working on that today. Like I said, I think today we're working on wheel bearings, get those done, and we might throw the wipers back on, the windshield wipers back on. I have everything for that over here in this door pocket, and the arms on the back of the 6.0. But like I said, I'm kind of getting the hang of using these here steps. Probably not the best thing in the world for the door or the steering column, but hey, that's comes with the territory, don't it? But like I said, get this down there, and I don't know, I might ride the zero turn back up here because it's hot. But like I said, we're gonna try something different. I talked to fellow 10th gen guy. You'll probably follow him on YouTube, Mel, Cruising with Mel, or you may follow him on Instagram at SayMel. I talked to him because he's got a 2-wheel drive with the 7.5 FabTech, and I believe a 3-inch body. I don't know that for sure. And he's been running 16 wide and spacers on his truck. And in this truck, I used to murder wheel bearings with just 12 wides and 2-inch adapters, and I believe he was running 16 wides and 3-inch spacers. So I hit him up and I was asking him, I've talked to him a few times, and he was telling me that they run high temp grease in his wheel bearings, and just national brand bearings. So that's exactly what we did. I went and picked up some national wheel bearings and some high temp grease. So I will show you all that when we get this thing down there to the shop. All right, guys. So we made it. Didn't run anything over. Didn't kill anything. You know, as long as I can get out of here without hitting my door, we'll be in business. And just fall out like that. But anyway, try to make sure we have plenty of room on both sides, as always. But figured I would show y'all. Shut this door. Alright, so what we picked up is we got bearings in here. Now I will show y'all. Y'all need a part number. Hopefully these got, yeah. So there's your part number for those. These are the larger bearings, and then these cute little guys are the smaller bearings. So picked up 4 of those, 2 of each size, and then picked up some high temp grease. Was reading, yeah, 500 degree dropping point, and seen something other else about supposed to be better with water and stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna leave the truck in here. I'm gonna take the 0 turn. I'm just gonna take the key out of it. But leave this in here. Come back here in a bit when it cools down some, and we will get going. It's not a difficult process by any means, especially when you've done it several times. So I reckon I will catch y'all here in a bit, and we'll get back to work. Okay guys, so if you're doing this at home on the floor like we are, not with a lift, what you want to do if you're doing or if you have lug nuts like these where you don't want to impact them, because these sockets do tend to break, go ahead, break your lug nuts loose just a little bit. That way they're kind of hand tight here. Then you can jack it up, and you don't have to mess with trying to hold this wheel that wants to spin while you're taking these loose. And then on these trucks, what we have found is the best way to support them with the jack stand will be this little saddle right back here underneath your cab mount. So we'll get it supported, and then go ahead, pull our wheel the rest of the way off. That way if it does, the jack fails or something other, before you get a jack stand under it, it doesn't completely fall because your wheel is still attached. Alright, so first things first, I know this is an absolute mess in here. Everything needs cleaned, painted, touched up. But what we're going to start with is taking our caliper off of our bracket. And he's trying to turn the wheel, and I got the key in my pocket. But 2 caliper bolts, one here, and you have one down underneath. It's a little easier to deal with taking the caliper bracket off without the caliper attached, from what we have found. So we'll do that. Take something to hang your caliper with. Please do not just let your caliper hang. That puts stress on not only this metal line right here, it also can mess up your hose. So take something and hang your caliper. Trust me, I mean, you don't want to cause any issues for yourself down the road. What we always like to do is take a bungee cord or something other, run right here through the caliper, and hang it either off of the control arm, or you can hang it from this hole right here in the factory bump stop mount. Okay, so when you take your caliper loose, again, 2 bolts. You can take a screwdriver, sneak in here, and pry it away. That way, kind of pushes the pistons back in. It's not hard to put back on or take off for that matter. If your brake clips fall out, it's not a big deal. Just remember to put those back on where they came from. We got hung from up here on the upper control arm brackets. So now that you have that, you have two 18s. You have one here and one up here on the knuckle, and that will take your caliper bracket off, and the brake pads should stay in your bracket. Okay, so once you get your caliper bracket off, just set it aside like I have here. You can take, since I have these adapters, I really don't want to take these adapters off because these Allen head bolts are bad about stripping. What we did is took a pair of channel locks, pulled this dust cap off, and that will reveal cotter pin, and then this little piece back here, I don't really know what they call this. It's like a lock washer, I guess. That lock just comes right off after you pull the cotter pin, and then behind this you will have your nut, and I believe there's another washer back behind that nut that kind of tightens everything up in here. Okay, so once you get your cotter pin out, pull that little lock washer thing off, and then you will have your nut. That nut is 1 1/16", and as you can see back in there, there is a washer. Pull that washer out, and then your whole rotor, hub, whatever you want to call it, can come off in one piece. That's the nice thing, is you don't have to pull these adapters off to do this. So pull that spacer out and it should come right off, like so. Okay, so this will be your outer wheel bearing, and then you can see obviously outer wheel bearing, inner wheel bearing back here. So now that we have everything off on this side, what we can go ahead and do is you'll need to hammer out your old bearings, the inner bearing, and then we can go ahead, grease up the new ones, put the new ones in, put everything back together, and then the outer bearing will go back on, followed by that washer, the nut, the little lock, and then we will put a new cotter key in it, and then put everything back in it. Also guys, I just got the spindle cleaned up. My grandpa is working on getting the old bearings and races out. If you don't have a press, we do have a press, but it's buried back yonder. So we're doing the old school method with a hammer and a brass punch. Use a brass punch. A brass punch won't do near the damage if you slip or have an incident. So just use a brass punch. Save yourself a little bit of a headache there. And then going back in with the races, we'll probably use a socket that's close fit to the outside. Now, that's not the proper way to do it, but like I said, our press is kind of buried back there at the moment. So that's what we're going to do to get this thing knocked out. Seals, if you haven't done seals, you need to do seals. Now, we're not doing seals on this truck because those seals maybe have 3,000 miles on them. I would be surprised if they have 3,000 miles on them. So they're still in good shape. I looked them over. My grandpa looked them over. We don't see any issues with them, so we're going to reuse them. And I do know at some point in time we're going to pull all of this back apart and do like a deep cleaning on everything. We're just not going to do it right now at this moment. Okay, so my grandpa got the new bearings and races in. A lot of times when you get new bearings, you want to go ahead and swap the races. That way, if the angle is different or anything like that, it's just a good idea to go ahead and swap them. Now, we got everything back on. Haven't tightened this yet. Be sure to look up, I'm not going to say what the torque specs are. Be sure to look up for your vehicle what the torque specs are. And also, this washer in here, as you can see, the spindle has basically like a keyway. It's flat on the top and on the bottom, so that washer sits perfectly on there and you can't go wrong with it. So now we will get our nut tightened. You don't want to over tighten that nut because you can mess up your bearings. So like I said, and I'll say it again, be sure to look up your torque specs for all of this stuff. That way you make sure that nothing flies off going down the road or you don't have any catastrophes. Okay guys, so now that this is tightened the way it's supposed to be, or well, it's kind of one of them things where it seems like everybody has their preferred method, but it shouldn't be hard to turn by hand. So now that we have that done, obviously we need to clean the grease and such off the rotor, but we got to run up here to where my grandpa works. We got to do some stuff up there real quick. He just got called out, so he's going to grab the blue truck, and I figured I would explain a little more now. So now that our nut here is tightened, what we can go ahead and do is reinstall. I looked up the name of this thing, and that is the castle washer. So you can go ahead, reinstall your castle washer, follow it up with a cotter pin. I have a box of cotter pins over here in my other toolbox, so I'm going to put a brand new fresh cotter pin in it, and that way you ain't got to worry about it or anything. Then you can go ahead and put your brake caliper bracket on, follow it up with your caliper, and again torque everything down to the right spec, and then we can go ahead and put our wheel back on. But like I said, we got to run up here, so I will catch y'all when we get back. Okay guys, so now we got all that taken care of, what we're going to go ahead and do is reinstall our caliper bracket and our clip there for the brake pads back into the caliper. Now on these, if we can find our Loctite, it is recommended, or I would say probably recommended, that you go ahead and Loctite the bolts for the caliper bracket. That way they don't fall out. Because after we put this Fabtech lift on, we had one of the caliper bracket bolts come out. Luckily, didn't tear anything up, but it is a very good possibility that you will tear something up if that happens. And generally speaking, it's a wheel. So, I gotta clean this off with some brake cleaner, wipe that down, and then we'll get our bracket installed, then we can throw our caliper back in. Okay guys, so we got these cleaned. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I probably did that a minute ago. But our caliper bracket is nice and tight. Got it torqued down. One thing you want to check that your slide pins aren't froze up like this one is. It's very stiff. This boot is actually busted, so I'll have to get another boot or something other. Can you even buy boots? Okay, so we'll have to get some of those. Now this bottom one is nice and free, but we're going to go ahead and grease both of these while we're here, and then we'll throw our caliper back on. Okay, so this top slide pin was just about completely seized. We pulled it out, trying to grease both of them up, and he's working on wire wheeling them to get all the corrosion off the top one. But we're going to clean both of them up, go ahead and re-grease both of them, that way they'll be solid. Now this side here, I've noticed it seems like when you drive the truck, it seems like after you get on the brakes once, then one of them kind of drags and you can hear it kind of squeak a little bit. So I figure it's probably this one. We pulled it off and looked at the boot. The boot is actually fine. Just had mud and stuff around it, because before this truck got painted, it seen a little mud, and I may or may not have some pictures that I'll put up here on the screen. But if you can see, that's where all of this has come from, and down in there and everything else. So I'd like to get all this cleaned up at some point, and the frame needs painted or cleaned up anyway, so I would like to do that at some point. I'd like to get this replaced because this boot is starting to seep, and so are the tie rods and everything, but we'll just have to get to that at some point. But like I said, we're gonna get these greased up, get those put back in, and roll on. So also, figured I'd explain. If these seize up, your caliper won't slide. The caliper attaches here. Those help the caliper slide to apply even pressure. If one of those is locked up, you will eat up one brake pad and your brakes are liable to stick, like this one did a little bit. But anyway, get those cleaned up, get them back in, then we can throw our caliper back on and wheel and tire. Okay guys, so the truck is all back together. Now for the other side, it's the same exact deal, but we're calling it quits for tonight. So I gotta get these LEDs off and we're gonna call it here. But anyway guys, got the LEDs off. Need to really get those wired up to switch over here. But guys, that is going to be a wrap for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video or found it helpful, please drop a like and comment down below. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching guys. I hope everybody has a great day. I would do the other side, but it's, well, I'll just show you what it looks like out here. It's well, it's about 10 o'clock. So we're gonna call it here. But anyway guys, like I said, that's gonna be a wrap. Thank y'all for watching, and I hope y'all have a great day.